A very warm welcome to each and everyone present today. My name is Vineet and I'll be the instructor for all of you. In today's class, we'll go through Java constructors, inheritance, packages, methods, arrays. These are the topics that will be covered in today's class. So starting with constructors, we come to Java constructors. Now what do you think is a constructor? Please write down on the chat window. Everyone, what do you think is a constructor? What is the use of a constructor? To construct something, right? Like now, how it is related in Java, you create a class, now you create an object of a class. How to create an object of a class using a class? How to create the object using the class? Sumit says to initialize objects. Absolutely, that means to create objects, to initialize objects. Correct. Moving on. A constructor is used in the creation of objects. Ashraf says constructor is similar to method used to initialize the object. Okay. Just noted a point, that is, it is similar to a method, but it is not a method because a constructor never returns a value, but with a method you have to mention the return type. Okay, remember this. Now, constructor is used in the creation of an object. It is a special method with no return type. Okay, special method but not a method. Must have the same name as the class it is in. Like there's a class beneath, the constructor of that class will be named as beneath itself. Is used to initialize the object as well. If not defined, will initialize all instance variables to default values. Okay. So there are default values for variables. If you haven't given a constructor, it will initialize the variables to the default values. So this was the definition or overview of constructor. Let's move on. Now how to implement a constructor. You have public class, class2. This is one class, integer x and y. You have a constructor for this class, that is public class2. You open up braces and you initialize the values of x and y. You give x equals to 10 and y equals to 11. Now in the second class where you have created the object of class2, you write class2 ob equals to new class2. That means you have created an object and you are calling this constructor. This is the constructor that you are calling. It is right here, class2 with parenthesis. After that, you print the values of x and y. That means it will print the values 11, 10 and 11 respectively. Okay. So let's see on Eclipse. Okay, I need to import my projects. Just give me a second. Okay then. So I have a program for constructor. I've got two. Let's see which one is. Okay, this one. Can you all see it? So we have one class that is class2 and the other class that one class that is class1 and the other class is class2. Now in class2 what you have done, first of all I'll comment this, don't get confused with that and this part. Now you have a class2, you have two variables x and y. Within that you have defined a constructor that is class2 with parentheses. So this is one constructor in which you are initializing the values of x and y. Okay, as it was in the definition, a constructor helps in the creation of objects as well as it initializes the object, as Sumit says. Okay, now in class 1 what we have done, we have created an object of this class. Okay, like class 2 I have created with Mayank name equals to new class 2. Okay, so that means I have called the constructor that has been defined right here. Now this will initialize the value of x equals to 10 and y equals to 11. When we print these values Mayank.x, then it will print the value that is 10. Mayank.y will print a value that is 11. So whatever object you create of this particular class, calling this one constructor, then the values of x and y will be initialized to 10 and 11 always. Okay. So everyone, are you clear with it? I'll just run this code. As you can see, the value of x when constructor is called is 10. Value of y when constructor is called is 11. Okay. So all of you please write down on the chat window if you are clear with constructor. What is the use of a constructor and how we use it in our program? Please write down on the chat window. Ashraf says yes, it's clear. Karthik says yes. What about the rest of you? Tejinder, Vibhanshu, Ambrish, Sai, Rajiv, everyone says yes. Very good then. So getting back to the presentation, I come to constructor overloading. Now, what is constructor overloading? That means to overload something. The name of the constructor is always the name of the class, okay? Sumit says yes, so constructor is used to initialize the properties of the class. Absolutely right. Now, you know that the constructor has to be named after the class name. Now, when you make more than one constructor, that means you'll have the same name, but the constructors will be different. So that is called the constructor overloading. Now, this is one constructor. This is the second constructor right here. The first constructor, you're not taking any parameters. It is not taking any values in it. Okay. And you initialize the value of x as 10 and the value of y as 11. But in the second constructor, it is taking an integer value as parameter, as argument. Now when you pass within the constructor, when you pass an integer value, it will not call this one. It will directly come to this constructor and initialize the value of x and y with the integer that was passed. Okay. Now you can call the constructor respectively like this. In the class 1, where the main method is, you make the object of class 2 ob equals new class 2. So this one will call the first constructor, initializing the value of x and y equals 10 and 11, as you have already seen. Now when you write class 2 and you pass an integer value to it, it will directly come to this constructor and it will initialize the value of x as z and the value of y as z. That means the integer that you have passed. Okay. So going to Eclipse now, I'll uncomment the other part. Now, we have got one constructor which we have already created in the previous example. Now we have got the second constructor which is taking an integer value, integer z. Now what we are doing, we are initializing the value of x to z. Now if we do not put y, what will be the value to which it will initialize? Sumit says 11, Karthik says 0. Ashraf says 11. I'm talking about, everyone listen carefully. First one will give for sure that is x equal to 10 and y equals to 11. Second constructor, when I call, I'm only initializing the value of x to z. Let's see the simple example first, y equal to z also. So right now both will be initialized to z. I'll just run this code for you. As you can see, value of x when constructor is called 10 and 11 from the first two. And when we call the second constructor and we use the object of the second constructor to print the values of x and y, I receive a result 5 and 5 because I passed 5 in the constructor. Now what I'll do, I'll comment this second part. Now what if I run this code? Because I'm only initializing the value of x to z, what about the value of y? Ambrish says it will have null value. Okay. What about others? Please write down on the chat window. What do you think will be the value of y when I run this code? Tejinder says 0. Sumit says y might have default values. Vanu says 0. Karthik says 0. Rajiv says null. Absolutely. It will take the default values like, as you can see, 10 and 11, the first one. Now, constructor is 5. That is for sure because x was initialized to the value of z. The second is 0 because it has been initialized to its default value. Those of you who are given null, you had the idea, but if you say null, in integers you do not have null as default value. The default value is 0. Okay, there is a big difference between null and 0. Okay, and Ashraf, are you clear now? I expected a right answer from you. Okay, so let's get back. We come to arrays. Okay, an array is a list of similar things. An array has got fixed name, type, and length. If we say name, name acts as an identifier using which you call an array. You use an array in your application. Second is the type. That means what type of array is it? What kind of values will this array store? Whether it will be an integer value, a character, boolean, what kind of values will be there in an array? Now third is the length of the array. That means what will be the size of the array, how many elements can be stored into this particular array. That will be the length of the array. Now these must be declared when the array is created. Array size cannot be changed during the execution of the code. That means during the runtime you cannot change the size of the array or the name of the array or the type of the array. All of these things has to be defined in the starting when you actually declare the array. Okay. Now example of array. Let's say an array is, the name of the array is my array, and my array has got a room for 8 elements. That means 8 elements can be stored into this array. The elements are accessed by their index, that is you put the values between the square brackets and you access the arrays. In Java, array indices starts at 0. Now since the indices starts from 0, the index will go from 0 to 7 because there is a room for 8 elements. I hope you understand. Now you'll be using this index to access this memory location, either to put values to it or to retrieve values from it. Okay. So I hope you have understood this example. So let's go to Eclipse and we'll try to implement an array. Okay, let's create a new project. So I go to file. Sumit says, can each element be an array also? Okay. File, new. Android application. Sorry, not Android, the Java project. New Java project. Let's say arrays. I click on finish and I've got my project. I'll add a class to it. New class. The class name is class 1, public main finish. So we have our class, within that we have our main method. Now in that I'll define an array. Like first you have to write the data type of the array. That means what kind of values will it store. So you'll write integer, like if you want to store numbers, array square brackets equals to new. Again the data type with square brackets. Within that you have to mention the size of the array. Let's say 3 and I put a semicolon. Okay. Now when you have to access the elements, you have to use the index of the array. So you'll write ARR square brackets. Within that you can use 0, like the simplest thing. 0 equals to like 1. Array equals to 1. At worst position I want 2 to go, and at second position, that is index 2, I need 3 to go. Equals to 3. That means a value greater. Let's make it 5. The same example as in presentation. I'll just copy these two. 3, 4, 4, 5. Okay, so you can store the values. You can put the values into the array like this. This will be the simplest way, or you can use a for loop. As you studied for loop in your last class, you can simply use a for loop to put the values into your array, as well as while printing the arrays you'll be using for loop or any other loop. Okay, so I'll write for integer I equals to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus. Okay, I'll just increment the values of I plus plus, I'll open up the braces. Within that I'll write A double R. I'll open up the square brackets and I'll pass the I as index. Okay, the value of I will keep on changing and I'm putting a value that is 1 greater than I plus 1. I put a semicolon. Okay, so when the index is 0, it will put the value 1. When index is 1, it will put the value 2. Instead of writing 5, you can also write A double R dot length. Length is a property of an array using which you can find the size of the array. Okay, if you're not aware of the size, you can simply use array.length. It will fetch you the size. You can simultaneously print the array. You can write system.out.println. Within that you can pass your array with index A double R. You pass your index like I. So as soon as the value is inserted into the I position, it will print the position as well. It will print the value that has been stored into the array. Okay, so I'll just run this code. Now first tell me what will be the result, everyone, if I run this code. Each and every one of you write down on the chat window, what do you think, how many times will this loop run and what will be the result on the console window. Sumit says 1 to 5, Bhanu says 1, 2, 3, Ashraf says 1 to 5, Karthik says 1 to 5. Okay, Bhanu, you are also right. Ambrish says 1 to 5, Vibhanshu, Rajiv, everyone says 1 to 5. So control F11 and I just move it up. As you can see, the value that has been printed is 1 to 5 because the values of 5 are moving from 0 to 5, 0 to 4, and we are putting the values that is 1 incremented. Hence, the values into the array is 1 till 5. Okay. Now, even if you remove the brackets before that, you can place the bracket before this, it won't give you an error. But if you place the size over here, do you think it will give you error? Please write down on the chat window. If I give the size of the array in the starting, that is the starting square bracket, will it give me an error? Absolutely yes, it will give me an error. If I mention the size and I remove it from here, for instance, it will absolutely give an error. So this is a wrong syntax. Okay, now let's try one more thing. As Sumit said, now if I write A double R brackets array equals to new Okay, so we'll be just trying in a while. Don't worry, Sumit will come there. Okay, so let's get back to the presentation. Now, examples of array. Like you write integer, same example that I took, new integer 5. As soon as this statement is created, there's a memory location allocated to the arrays. Okay, array 0 for first one, 1, 2, 3, 4. When you run a for loop for this, like you know that the size of the array is 5, you put the condition less than 5 and you put the values 1 greater. So first time it runs, it will put value 1, then 2, 3, 4 and finally 5. So this array will be filled like this and it will get out of the for loop after this. Okay. Now some more examples of array. Now car is a class. Now you're creating an array of cars capable of storing 3 car objects. Okay. Now object, an array of objects, new object you can create, boolean answers, true false, true false. Now how to get the length of the array object? You have to write cars.length as I told you previously. You just have to use the length property and you can get the size of the array. So all of you, let me know if you are clear with an array. Please write down on the chat window. Sumit says explain line 2. Sumit, what is happening? I didn't get array of class objects. Okay. So first I come to Eclipse. I'll just leave the presentation. Now, are you aware how to create an object of a class first of all? Please write down on the chat window. Okay, very good. Now, when you create an object, you have to, like, there is a class 1. Okay, I'll just create an object of this class like class 1. Sorry. Class 1 OB equals to new class 1. Okay, I call the constructor the default constructor. Now I've got my object. Now what if I have to create an array of this object? So I'll mention class 1, okay, brackets ARR1 equals to new Swati says good morning Swati, new class 1, and you give the size like 3, and you finally put the semicolon in the end. So what it has done, it has created an array of class 1 type. Okay, the type of the elements that will go into the array will be of class 1, hence it will be the object of class 1, and you can store 3 objects. Are you clear now? Sumit, please write down on the chat window if yes. Sumit says yes, clear. What about the rest of you? Are you clear with this line? The statement how to create an array of objects. Okay, then I receive all the essays. That's very good. Karthik says explains once again. Okay. Karthik, this is how you create an object of a class. Simple. Now when you have to make an array of an object of a class, so what you have to do, class 1, that is you are saying, first you know how to declare an array, data type. So this time the element that can be gone into the array list will be class 1 type. Second, you have to mention the name of the array. I have mentioned it. Third, new operator, it is there. And fourth, again the type. And you have to give the size of the array. That means how many elements will be present in that particular array. Tejendra says class array 1. Yes, it will work. You can place this square bracket either before or after the name of the array. Okay, Tejendra? Sumit says right. So are you clear, Karthik? Please write down on the chat window if yes. Okay then. Now we come to Java review, the packages. Okay, we'll understand what are packages in Java. I gave you a small overview yesterday. Let's see a much detailed one. Now what is package? A Java package is a mechanism for organizing Java classes into namespaces. That means under a particular name you can place a number of classes which are of similar types. Programmers use package to organize classes belonging to the same category. Okay, that means there are similar classes, the classes that are used in one particular functionality, you can place all those types of classes in one particular folder or one particular package. Now classes in the same package can access each other's package access members. Okay, that means the classes that are present in the same package can use the elements, can use the things that are present in other classes of the same package. Okay. So I hope you are clear with the definition of a package. Advantages of a package. Programmers can easily determine that these classes are related. First of all, as soon as he sees a package and he sees 10 classes within it. So it will understand that yes, these classes must be of the same type. Okay. That means they must be interrelated. Programmers know where to find files of similar types. Now when you are searching for a particular kind of type, particular kind of classes, you'll understand, you'll just search for the package. Once you find it, you'll find that all the other classes will also be present in the same package itself, so the searching of classes will be quite easy. The names won't conflict. Okay, like if you have a class name Vineet in one particular package, that is package 1, Now you cannot have the same name class, that is you cannot have another Vineet class in the same package, but you can place same class name, that is Vineet, in some other package, so the names won't conflict. Because the package name is different, the folders are different, the path to that particular class will be different, hence you can create two classes with the same name but in different packages. You can have different access of the types within the package. Okay, the access modifiers can be different within the package. Now, naming convention of a package. How to name a package name. You understood how to name a variable yesterday. Now it's time to understand how to name a particular package. Package names are written in all lowercase. Everything in the name of the package will be in lowercase. Nothing will be in capital letters. Companies use their reversed internet domain name to begin their package names. What does that mean? For example, com.example.mypackage for a package named mypackage created by a programmer at example.com. So example.com was the website, the domain name. What it did, it reversed the domain name, so it is com.example and the name of the package should be mypackage, so you write .mypackage. So this will be the entire package name, com.example.mypackage. So this is one convention that is generally followed by the companies. Everyone, are you clear till here? Please write down on the chat window. Vivanshu says clear, Rajiv says clear, Karthik says clear. Sumit says in.edureka.my. That's correct. Banu says clear. Okay, then moving on. If the domain name contains, now you understood you can reverse the domain names. What if a domain name contains a hyphen or a special character? If the package name begins with a digit, illegal character, reverse Java keyword such as int, what has to be done? In this event, the suggested convention is to add an underscore instead of that. Like you have the domain name and the package name prefix. So you have hyphenated dash name, that is hyphen, okay? So it is written hyphenated hyphen name dot example dot org. Then you'll be writing org.example dot hyphenated underscore name. Okay? So you change it with underscore name. Second is example.end, then you'll write int underscore dot example. Third is 123 name.example.com, you'll write com.example dot underscore 123 name. Okay, you'll just put an underscore in places of the operators, the unused operators. So all of you, are you clear with the naming convention of a package? Please write down on the chat window if yes. Till that time, let me see, do I have a question for you? Okay, not with today's topic, but I'd like to ask a question, a very simple question with the last class topic, okay? And that would be on your screen. Each pass through a loop is called its enumeration, iteration, culmination, or pass through. Manu says B, okay? Everyone give your votes, cast your answers. Sumit says, will you tell something about deconstructors? Not in today's class, Sumit. We won't be talking about deconstructors, but you do not actually have to worry about deconstructors because garbage collector is already there. So you do not have to manually create deconstructors for your program. Okay? Are you getting my point? Karthik says iteration. Like constructors, deconstructors are the elements that are that destroys the objects, okay? That removes the frees the memory, okay, after once it is used. But as a garbage collector is already present, it already does this task, so you do not have to manually call the deconstructor on your own. Deconstructors are already called in the background, okay? So we have the answers. 92% of the people says iteration and 8% says pass through, and the correct answer is iteration itself. Okay, then let's move on. Now let's see a diagram for a package, okay? First of all, you have a project, and you write the package name within that. Okay, you have a package in that project like com.myproject. Then you write your source folder, you have your com my project, and you have your class within your package. Okay, it is like this. In the source folder you have com folder, then my project folder, and then my class.java folder. As soon as you run your project, and that means as soon as your project is compiled, there is a similar stream that gets generated, that is classes com my project and my class.class folder. Okay, if you want to check it out, you can find it anywhere. So source, let's see here, we'll have few packages, like this is one package, this is different package. Now source folder can have multiple packages in it. Now this is one package in which you have got one class, com.edureka, these are actually different folders. So if I do open type hierarchy, okay, now this one, actually there is an option using which you can see the folders. If you want to see them, I'll just show you. I'll go to computer, C drive, I go to my workspace actually, user, and workspace JV2, and constructor, source, not this one, the other constructor, sorry, the package. In bin you can find from com, within that Edureka, pack 1 and pack 2. Pack 1 you've got your example class. Now this was the class 1. Once you compile, in source folder you'll file com Edureka, pack 1, pack 2, and then example, that is Java file. Are you clear everyone? The two things that I've shown you right now. Even in presentation, these were things present, source, and then classes com my project. Actually this will be the bin folder which is mentioned as classes, so that you can understand it will be creating classes folder as well. So everyone, let me know if you're clear with this. Submit this, why this copy is created. Actually it is the dot class file, it is not the copy. Class file is actually the one which gets executed. It is the bytecode, as I said yesterday. Amri says yes sir, clear. What about the rest of you? Sumit says okay. Karthik says okay. Sumit says yes. Vivanshu says yes. Swati says yes. Okay. Now we come to inheritance in Java. Anurag says okay. Okay, Anurag said after a long time today. Now there are many people present. I request everyone to keep interacting with me. Keep on writing on the chat window. Okay, it would be a good experience for you as well as for me. Okay, now we come to inheritance now. Now you understood how to create classes, you understood how to create objects. Anurag says I came late, that's fine. Now the child classes inherits all the attributes of the parent class like this. Even the parent class is also called the superclass. So this is an animal class and this is a child class. Child classes are 3 child classes. Now what they are doing, they are actually extending the animal class. Reptile extends animal, amphibian extends animal, and mammal extends animal. That means animal is a general category, and all the 3 things like reptiles are kind of animals, amphibian are kind of animals, and mammal are kind of animals. So what you are doing, you are extending these classes which will inherit the properties of animals into reptiles, amphibian, and mammals. So child classes inherits all the attributes of the parent class. They also have their distinctive attributes. That means they are definitely animals. Reptile is an animal, amphibian is an animal, mammal is an animal, but they also have their distinctive features like reptiles crawl on land, amphibian live in water as well as in land, and mammal gives birth to the young ones. They do not lay eggs. So they have got different properties even though they'll be animals. Okay, have you understood the point? What is the use of superclass in child class? Why we have inheritance? So that we can use the attributes that are present in the parent class. Hence we do not have to define those attributes again in the child classes. Everyone, are you clear? What is the benefit of inheritance? What is the benefit of extending a class? Sumit says yes. Swati says yes sir. Anurag says yes. Vivanshu says yes. Rajiv says yes. Karthik says yes. Amrish says yes. Sai says yes. Okay then, very good. Moving on. Like you've got the animal class, type is not human, lives on land and gives birth. Okay? Simple. Now, we have class aquatic which extends animal. Whenever you have to inherit a class, you'll be using the extends keyword. So you write aquatic extends animal. Now lives, you change this attribute is used, but you change the value to in water, and gives birth or not, you can write yes or no. So this is inheriting all the attributes of the animal class. You can use it right here. Now you define this was distinctive feature of this aquatic class, hence you mention that in water. You did not mention the type because you can directly use the type when you extend the animal. Okay, you'll see the example and understand it. Right here is an example. Sumit says, does the child have all properties of parent, or we can also block any property of the parents in child? Now, if you want to block any property of a parent class into so that it could not be used in the child class, then you can define that property as final. Okay, there's a final keyword that you can use. If you mention something as final, it won't be used in any other class. Or you can mention it as private, as Rajiv said. Okay, generally final is used. Now, you have your package name edureka.animal, you have your class that is animal. In that you have defined a string type, not human, string lives in water, and public void function, you have a function as well. Now, you have the same package in that you have an aquatic class, extends animal, string lives in water, okay, and you have a function. In this you are saying that you are defining it right here, you're changing it, but you are actually using it, the inheritance. Okay, in the main class what you are doing, you are creating an object of aquatic class ob equals to new aquatic system.out.println ob.type. Now type is not used over here, type is not defined in aquatic, but it has been defined in animal. Now since aquatic is extending class animal, you can use the type variable of the class animal using the object of aquatic class. So, ob.lives, it will call the variable that has been defined in the aquatic class. You can call the function as well, ob.fun. Let's go to Eclipse then. Close it. And let's see which one is our project. Let's open the first one. Okay, not this. We'll see this one first. Okay, now what is done? One is an animal class in which you have defined type not human. Okay, so this is one. Sumit says, sir, can we override the function? Can we do so for a variable also? Okay, you'll understand. You can use the variable. You can just define the variable again, so it will call the value that has been defined in your class. Okay, now we define the type not human first of all in the class animal. Now we come to aquatic class extends animal class. Okay, when it extends, in that you are defining it lives in water, another attribute that is in water. Type can be used directly in animal class, okay, because it is extending it. Now we have a reptile class which extends the aquatic class now. Okay, it is extending the aquatic class, or instead of aquatic I'll mention as animal itself. It extends the animal class, and you write lives on land. Reptiles live on land, aquatic lives in water. So these are the distinct attributes, but both of them are kind of animals, so they'll be using the type variable. In the main class, I have the main method. I declare an object of aquatic class ob equals to new aquatic. I write system.out.println aquatic animals are ob.type first of all, and lives ob.lives we call it. We have the reptiles object, rep equal new reptile, Reptiles are rep.type and lives dash. Now when I run this code, I receive the result as aquatic animals are not human and lives in water because ob.type was not human and ob.lives was in water. Reptiles are not human and lives on land, so rep.type is not human and rep.lives is on land. So hence we can use it like this, but this type variable was not defined in these two classes. Because we extended the animal class, we were able to use it. And these were the distinctive features that were defined in these respective classes. So all of you, are you clear with this? How to extend a class, how to inherit a class? Please write down on the chat window. Vivanshu says clear. What about the rest of you? Okay, I receive all the essays. That's very good. Yes, animal.java, it is right here. Shashidhar says, can we access attribute of animal using reptile object? Yes, that is what we did. If I go to main method, Shashidhar, reptile object, I'm using rep.type because in reptile I have extended the animal class. And you can see rep.type. Shashidhar says okay. Now if I define this as private, as Rajiv said, so it gives me an error in the main method, okay? I cannot use it since private access modifier mentions that it can only be used in that particular class itself. It cannot be used by any other class, okay? So you can block it like this, or you can define this as final. Okay, final will actually work, but this will be the final value. It won't be changing. Extends final.type. If I extend the aquatic class, now you can also extend the aquatic class. Right now we were extending the animal class itself, so I write aquatic and I save my file right here. Now this time the string lives is already present here. Now when I go to the animal class, it will be changed, okay? Reptile class, okay? We are redefining. Everyone, can you hear me? Please write down on the chat window. Sumit says yes. Tejinder and Sumit. Okay. I hope it is clear. Okay. Very good then. Okay, now what I was trying to say, aquatic class is extended by reptile. Now in aquatic we have got lives variable, as well as in reptile we have got lives variable. Okay. Now when you have got the lives variable in both, and when you create the object of reptile type, then which variable will be called? When you write reptile.lives, it will call the variable that has been defined in the reptile variable itself. Okay. So all of you, are you clear with it? Now what if I make a very small change? I write aquatic. Now I've changed aquatic rep equal to new reptile. Now which variable will be printed when I write rep.lives? What do you think will be the result? The second line, tell me. Okay, Swati says lives in on water. Amrish says in water. Okay, let's run the code. And as you can see, reptiles are not human and lives in water has been printed this time because this is the class. Okay, that means you are mentioning the object will be of this class and the instance will be of reptile. Okay. So that is why, since the object was of aquatic class, it called the values that were present in aquatic class. So lives in water comes up on the screen. So everyone, are you clear with this concept? So I'll get back to the presentation then. Sumit says no. What is the confusion that you have, Sumit? Different names of class in object definition. Okay. Now what I have done, this is what, since reptile class is extending the aquatic class. So aquatic class is actually what is the difference between reference and object? Reference is a different thing, object is a different thing. You get a reference to an object. Okay? You use an object, so that will be a reference to an object. Now, reptile. Reptile class is actually extending the aquatic class. Now since it is the parent class, this is the child class, so what we can write in the main, whenever creating an object, I can use the object of parent class. So this is mentioning that the object that will be created will be of parent class, that is aquatic, but the instance that you'll be using will be of reptile class. So it will be initializing the values with reptile class. So you'll be use the instance. Now since you are extending it, that is why only you can do it like this. If I just remove this extends, it gives me an error right here. Okay, it only happens when inheritance is present, when there is a parent class. So you can create an object of a parent class and use the instance of a child class. Are you clear? Please let me know on the chat window if yes. Sumit says, can we use the reverse? Okay. If you want to try it, I'll do it for you. I'll write reptile or I'll write Control Z. I'll make it animal. First of all, rest of you, what do you think if I make like this? I change reptile, rep equals to new animal. Will it be fine or it will give me an error? Please write down on the chat window. Bhanu says error, Rajiv says error. Yes, it would give an error. Okay. Aquatic. Now, it will type mismatch, cannot convert from aquatic to reptile. Now, child class and parent class. Yes, Anurag and Swati, you are also correct. The difference like OC says error. Exactly correct. Now, aquatic is the parent class and the second one is the child class. Okay. Now, if you have the object of aquatic class and you have got the instance of child class, you can use all the things that are present in parent class. So it can be done like that. But if you create an object of child class and you are using the instance of parent class, but so what happens, parent class cannot use all the elements of the child class. Okay, child class has got some distinctive attributes. Those attributes cannot be used by the instance of parent class, hence this gives you an error. Okay, but in the other case, everything can be used with the instance of the child class because child class can access everything that is available in the parent class. Are you clear, everyone? Sumit says right. Okay, very good then. Okay, I hope you have understood how to inherit a class, how to extend a class. Everyone, please let me know in the chat window if you are clear with it. Okay, I receive all the essays. That's very good. Now I come to Java methods and classes. Okay, you've already seen how to create an object type with class keyword. You write the class. OC says, please repeat once again. Now, Oshit, you would have understood something. Now tell me what is the confusion that you have? At what point you are not clear? Please write down on the chat window. I'm waiting for your answer, Oshit. If you can just write down on the chat. Or I'll just do it again. Now this is how we create an object. Now what I did, reptile class is extending the aquatic class. When we are creating an object reptile, okay. So I can use the object of parent class, that is aquatic, and I can use the instance, okay. I can use the new operator and then the instance of the child class. But the opposite cannot be done, because let's try to make a small diagram, then I hope you'll understand it. Okay, let's say this is a parent class and this is a child class. Okay. Now extending it. The child class is extending the parent class right here. Okay. There were few things that were present in the parent class, like this was present. This was also present. This was there. Okay. This was there. Okay. These were the things that were present in the parent class. Now since you extended it, all those things were available here also. Okay, you have got this, or I'll simply okay, I have all those things present over here as well. I can use them similarly as they were present in here, since I extended this child class with the parent class. But here there were some things more present in the child class. Okay, so now what I was saying is, when I use the instance of this parent class, I'll just write the statement as well. I'll write aquatic rep equals to new reptile. Okay, this is one. I'll just copy this, Control C, and this is opposite to that. Reptile will come here, aquatic goes over here. Okay, Control X and V. Now, what I was trying to say, when you write aquatic rep equals to new reptile, so you have used creating an object of this class, okay, but the instance is this, right? Now, since you have got this instance, you can already use all these elements right here, which are present in parent class. Okay, so that is quite easy. All the things is accessible, so you can access each and everything. But when you write reptile, the object of reptile class, that is the child class, and you use the instance of aquatic class. Now in the instance of aquatic class, you have got only these four things. These two things are not available. So since the object was of this, it should be available, but you are using the instance of aquatic, it cannot be used. Are you clear now? OSCs and the rest of you. This was the difference between two statements that I've shown you right now. Swati says yes, clear. OCs and rest of you, please write down on the chat window if you are clear with it. Vivanshu says clear. OC says yes, thank you very much, you're welcome. Okay, very good, everyone says yes. Moving on. Okay. Now, you create a new class using the class keyword. You must have figured that out by now. Simply write the class keyword and then give the class name, open the curly braces and close the corresponding curly braces. Okay. Now a class definition can contain three things. It can contain variables that are also called fields in Java. Initializing code, that means you can initialize a code, and you can have methods within your classes. Okay, still we have to understand what is a method. Like the main method, you have got main method in your class. Similarly, you can create your own methods. Now an example class, you have understood what the package is. Package com.edureka.entity. This is one package. Yes, are the functions in C. Now this is one package, that means com.edureka.entity. If you want to see a very small diagram for this, Control N, don't save. Now package, something like package was written com.edureka.entity. Okay, so this is the name of the package. Now it is something like this. This is 1, this is 2, 3. Finally you have a class, that is class. Let's say the name of the class is car. Okay. This is entity. This one is Edureka and this one is com. Okay. Now what is happening? When you write com.edureka.entity and a class after that, so this class is present within this entity folder. This entity folder is present within this Edureka folder, and this Edureka folder is present within this com folder. The hierarchy is like this. Okay. So when you open the com, you have Edureka, then you have entity, and finally you'll find your class there. Okay. So this is a package, everyone. Now within that package you'll find your class car. You have variables, different variables, and you can have methods in your. Anurag says, what is com? Anurag, were you okay, you missed the part actually. Now the naming convention of a package is something like this. Generally companies, what they do, they name like edureka.com. Let's say edureka.com is the website of Edureka. So they will just reverse the domain name. They'll write com.edureka and then whatever the package name is there. Okay. So that is why it is com.edureka. Anurag says okay. Moving on. Sumit, I'll answer it. Don't you worry. Are you connected on community, Facebook community, Sumit? Okay, then I'll answer it there itself. So let's stick to the class again. Now objects. Objects are called the runtime representation of a class. Whenever you have to use the contents that are present within a class, you'll be creating the object of that particular class. Okay. So these objects are created during runtime, hence they are called the runtime representation of a class. Objects hold states with variables. Okay, there are different, you can create different objects using your class. Now they'll be holding state with the variables. For example, like arrays. In the array class itself, I have an object. Okay, I create one more object of this class. The same class, Control C, Control V. Let's name it OB1. After that, what I'll do, I'll write something like OB, and I'll define a variable as well, integer x. So OB dot x equals to 20 and semicolon OB1 dot x equals to 30. Let's print the statements. I'll write system.out.println. First I'll write ob.x, copying this, Control C, ob1.x. Okay, I'll just comment this one. Now all of you, when I run this code, what will be the result? Please write down on the chat window. What do you will think will be the result of this? Karthik says 2030, Sumit says 2030, Ambrish says 2030, Shashidhar says 2030. Think once again, you have a variable x right here, and you are creating the object of this class itself, and using the object you are assigning the values. So what will be the answer? Think again once. Will you stick to your answer, or will you like to change it? Okay, Shashidhar now says 30 only. Manu says 30 and 30. Okay, what about others? What do you think? Swati says 30. Sumit says because each object has its own copy of variable since it is not static. Very good answer, Sumit. OS is 30. Sumit says 2030, and that's a right answer. It will print 2030 itself. Okay, the answer is because each object has its own copy of variable since it's not static. Okay, in the words of Sumit. If you mention it as static, then only it will be changing the values. Okay, if I change it to static, static means I've told you yesterday that there is only one copy present. Now if I run this code, I receive 30 and 30 because there is only one copy present. But if I remove static, it will be creating different instance of variable x for both the objects. That means it is holding state with the variables. Okay, you can hold this object hold the states with variables. All of you, are you clear with that? Please write down on the chat window. Sumit says yes. Vivanshu says clear. Bhanu says yes. Karthik says it's clear. Swati says yes. Okay, everyone is clear. Now I move back to the presentation. Now objects do some work with methods as well. That means if you have got methods, you can use those methods using the objects itself. Okay, this is the syntax of creating an object. You write the name of the class, you write the name of the object, then you equals to new, and then mention the name of the class once again, and you put a semicolon. Okay, and after that you can use the object to use the contents of the class. Now we come to methods. A method is a collection of statements that are grouped together to perform an operation. Okay, so a method takes some parameters, performs some computations, and then optionally returns a value. Sumit says, will you give an illustration of super keyword? Okay, if you want, I'll give it to you. Just let me finish this methods and then I'll show you the super keyword. Okay. Now a method is a collection of statements that are grouped together to perform an operation. That means to provide a particular kind of functionality, we define a method. That method can be called again and again wherever we want that functionality. Like we have a method to add two numbers. Now during the application, let's say at 10 different places we require to add two numbers. So what we can do, we can define a method with the name add, which takes two numbers as inputs and returns the value that is the sum of the two numbers. So whenever we need the sum of two numbers, we'll just call the method, we'll pass the two numbers and we'll get the result instead of putting the entire logic to it. So it provides modularity to your program. It removes the redundant code. Okay, you won't be writing the method or the function again and again. Oasis says, is method same as function? Yes. Now methods, there are two kinds of methods. If a method returns a value, it is termed as functions. If a method do not returns a value, it is termed as procedure. But they are the name for the same things. Okay, different names for the same things. Just a theoretical concept. Okay. Now the parts of the methods. Your methods are called 5 components. Okay, you'll understand it like this. So it has got 5 components. One is the modifier. Modifier provides the access permission to your method. Okay. So we'll be discussing modifiers in the next slide. Then main is a procedure. That's why code starts executing the main. Yes, Sumit. Now we are done with, we'll come with modifiers in a later part. The next slide. First we'll understand the return type. So it is the value returned by the method. Like for the addition function itself, it will return the sum of the two integers, okay? Now the return type will also be an integer type, so you'll be returning the value. So you have to mention the data type, that is what kind of value will be returned by this method. Method underscore name is the name of the method using which you'll be calling the method. You'll be using that method in your program. Okay, like add, then you'll be calling that add name and then only you'll be using it in your program. Third is any number of parameters. You can pass any number of parameters in your method. Like for the addition function itself, you need two parameters, two integer values. You'll write integer x comma integer y. So it will be written as integer x comma integer y. Those values of x and y will be used in the body of the method so that the sum of the numbers can be computed, and that sum will be returned back using a return statement. Okay, so let's see an example of method. Now return type can also be null. Okay, it could be void, not null. Void means empty, it won't be returning anything. So I can make a method here itself, or I can create another class. I can use that method. So first I'll create a simple method, that is a void method, not returning anything. So I'll write void function parenthesis and I open the braces, curly braces. So this is one method which is not taking any parameters and it is not returning any value. If you want to write something, you can print out something like this, or you can put any functionality in it, but it will not return anything. It won't take anything as parameters. So system.out.println, within that I'm printing void method. Okay, now I have the object of class 1. I can directly call this method like ob.fun. Okay, I can find fun, so I can use this method using the object. Just comment it. So I've got one object, I'm using this object to run this function. Now when I run this code, I receive the result void method, so it directly calls the method and it prints. It is not taking any parameter, it is not returning anything. Anurag says, can you please give a quick review on difference between void and null? Okay, Anurag, don't get confused. Null is a data type kind of thing. That means null represents that it is not returned. But with methods, if you have to mention that it won't be returning any value, you'll be mentioning void instead of null. That is the syntax, that is the thing that is followed. Okay, it has been developed like this, that you have to use the void keyword. Okay. Now we have seen this. Now instead of creating the second method, you can create right after this. I'll just create a new class. Let's say class 2 and finish. In class 2, I'll create another method, that is add. So it is integer. This time a method will return an integer value. The name is add, and it will take two inputs like integer x comma integer y. Okay, I open the braces, the integer x, it is giving me an error because I need a return statement to return the sum, that is x plus y. Okay, so it will add and return the sum, or you can define it like this. You can write integer any variable sum equals to x plus y, put a semicolon and return the value sum. Okay. So this will add two numbers and it will return the value integer, that will be the sum of two numbers. You come to class 1, here you have to create the class 2 objects. You'll write class 2 ob underscore 2 equals to new operator class 2, put a semicolon in the end. Now ob underscore 2 dot add anything 100, 250, put a semicolon like this. Now You have done it right, but you haven't stored the value. Since this function is returning a value, we need to store that value, or if you want to print it, you can directly place the entire thing into the system.out.println, Control X, and I put a semicolon in. I save it, okay? So whatever value that will be returned after this sum will be printed by system.out.println, or if you want to use it in a program, you can simply, what you can do, you can write integer any variable sum equals to this. So now sum will also have the value that was used, and you can print sum over here, okay? So I hope you have understood. Now if I run this code, I'll receive the result as 350. Void, because I call this function on the top, ob.fun, and I am calling this add function right here, and it is returning me the value that is the sum of the two numbers. So all of you, are you clear with this? Please write down on the chat window. Anurag says yes, Karthik says yes, Sumit says yes, Ambrish says yes, Vanshu says yes, Shashidhar says clear, Arshit says yeah, Gaurav says yes. Okay then, very good. So these are the functions. This is how you can define a function, and you can use that particular function in your program. Now I'll give an illustration of super keyword. Sumit says, what is passed by reference? Reference is actually the address location. Okay, there are two things. That concept is present in C, like pass by value and pass by reference. Pass by value, you actually passes the value, you use the value. Okay, there is a copy generated. Like you pass a value of X, it will generate the copy of X. Okay, but if you have to pass the exact variable itself, you want that everything should be changed in that variable itself. For that case, you'll be passing that value by you'll be passing that variable by reference. That means you'll pass the address of that variable, and whatever change will be done to that address itself. Okay, and this is one of the concepts of pointers as well, that is present in C. So just try it and you'll get your answer. Okay, so can you explain the complete uses of this operator? Okay, Sumit, will you do it? Will you try it on yourself? Class 1, Sumit says yes, very good then. Not this one, I'll open the inheritance one. Okay, we have got few classes. Now, I'll define a constructor of animal class. I'll just remove the reptile, I don't need it right now. Now I'll define the animal class. So this is the animal class constructor in which, now I'll define it. So it will be public, like public animal okay. And in this I'll assign the value to it like this. Okay, so that means type will be initialized to not human when this constructor is called. Now after this, I come to the aquatic class. In aquatic class, I'll again define a constructor that is for aquatic. So I'll write public aquatic parenthesis curly braces. Within that I'll use super. Okay, I'll call super. So it will directly call the super class, okay, and it will initialize the value of type to not human, okay. So super keyword is actually used so that you can call the constructor of the super class, like this, okay. And finally, I come here, or I'll show you the difference as well. Let's define string type, okay, equals to anything, like I'll print anything, okay. I put a semicolon in the end, and I'll pass this constructor. I'll take a parameter, different constructor string, string x, anything that is passed, okay, a string variable that is passed. We have this string variable. I'll create the default constructor this without that one, because once you create a constructor, what happens, the default constructor is gone, okay. So you have to mention this constructor as well. Now this is, now previously it will be using that one, or you can directly do one thing. You have got this type, let's not complicate it. Here itself it is type human, but let's create the constructor of animal class one more, public. I'll just copy it, control V. Within that I'll place string, something it is taking as value, string x, like that, okay. And instead of aquatic, I'll remove this. Final string, not human, type, okay. I'll place this inside this, okay, and I'll copy, control C, V, and I put a semicolon in the end. Final, I'll remove this. Lives in water, okay, I'll be using it. Okay, not this won't be used right now. So let's see, we come to main. Let's see whether the example has been implemented or not. I come to the main method. Now I run this code. I've got the aquatic OB, aquatic, and I'll call one more, control C, moving down, control V. Aquatic, I'll pass an integer OB1. I'll pass an string like Vineet, VINEET, okay, and I'll copy this system.out.println, control C, control V. Within that I'll write OB1 type OB1.lives. So let's run it. Let's see what happens. Okay, aquatic animals are null. Now first time it is using bash kg, whatever I defined it right here as type, and lives in water, okay. But in the second line, aquatic animals are null and lives in water. Now it is giving null. Why? When you pass it, you call this super, and so in super, okay, it is using this one. Control X, this dot type, Amrish says. Exactly, we'll be doing this dot type. So now I run this code. No, just a minute. Control C, I'll place it here itself. I'll remove this constructor. Now it will come. When I run this code, aquatic super, we are passing a string type to it, super. It calls the super constructor. Okay, it is null. Control Z, remove final. Okay, this dot type not equals to not human. Okay, I'll just get into it. I'll make a presentation for it. I'll bring a good example for this and you'll understand it, Sumit. Okay. Super is actually used to call this constructor of the superclass. Okay, it will directly call the constructor of the superclass and those functions will be done instead of actually using the local variables. Okay, so that is used, as well as this keyword is also used like with super as well. They are the combination that is used. Okay, so I'll make a class for this. In the next class we'll discuss this as well, and on the Facebook community I'll be posting on it. Okay, Karthik and Sumit, I hope it is clear. Is that fine with you guys? Please let me know. Okay then. Hershey says I got it. Now we come to modifiers. Now what are modifiers? There are three kinds of things. They will provide the access permission. They are called the access modifiers. You've got the public. First is the public access modifier. Any method in a class can access the field. Now an element that has been defined as public can be used by any other class that is present throughout the application irrespective of their package. Okay, it could be used by any class that is present in the application, hence that is termed as public, can be used by anyone. When an element has been defined as protected, that element can be used by the classes that are present in the same package. First of all the classes in the same package can use that particular element, and that means in a class you have defined something as protected. Now that element can be used by all the other classes that are present in the same package. And second thing, it could be used by a derived class. If a class has been derived, if you have extended the class in which the protected element has been used, that derived class can also use that particular thing. Inherited class, Sumit, exactly correct. Derived class, inherited class. Now derived class can use the protected element. If we talk about private, as the name suggests, in a class when you define an element as private, that particular element can only be used in that particular class itself. It cannot be used by any other class. Okay. Let's say you forget to define any one of the three, you do not mention any three of them. So in that case it will take the default one in which that particular element can be used by the classes that are present in the same package. Okay. That particular element can be used by the elements that are present in the same package. That will be the default one. So all of you, are you clear? Have you understood the access modifiers? Please write down on the chat window if yes. But can default be accessed by derived class? Sumit, no. Derived, if in default also, if that particular element can be derived by can be used by a derived class, then there won't be any difference between protected and default. Are you getting my point, Sumit? Okay. Main and this. Okay, we have one integer underscore private variable underscore public variable and underscore protected variable, and there is a default one in which you haven't mentioned the specifier. Now you come here in another class, that is public class main. We have our main method. In that you will create an object of specifiers class. Specifiers object. Now obj underscore public is used very easily. Obj underscore protected is used very easily because they are present in the same package. But if they are present in the different package, they won't be able to do that. And obj underscore default is also used in the same package. But you cannot use a private one. I'll just show you. Moving down, system.out.println obj dot, you won't find the option. Even if I write it manually, private, okay, it will give me an error. Change visibility of private to default. Okay, then only I'll be able to use this private variable. It has been confined to this class itself. So all of you, are you clear with this, the access modifiers? If you want to see the protected one, the second one, okay, there's a test class. In the test class, now this test class is extending specifiers class, so you can use the protected. Now but if I remove this, okay, I just remove this extend specifier. Now this is present in another package, that is the second package. You can find an error, create field protected in test type test. Okay, so you cannot use it because it is present in another variable, but this class extends it. It is a derived class, so you'll be able to use protected element even in other packages as well. So all of you, let me know, are you clear with it? Please write down on the chat window, each and every one of you. Sumit says yes, Karthik says yes, Vivanshu says yes, Anurag says yes, Swati says yes. What about the rest of you? Bhanu says, what about default? Default can be used. If you want to use this default one, I'll just go there. Second package ob dot underscore default. I don't get an option. Even if I write manually like this, equals to 100, put a semicolon, it will give me an error. Change visibility of default to protected because this class is extending it. Okay, default variables or default element can only be used within the same package, within the classes that are present in the same package. That is why you were able to use the default one in the main method, main class that is present in first package, but you cannot use it in test class that is present in the second package. Are you clear, Bhanu? Sumit says, but protected can be used in same package. Yes, by the same package, but can also be used by a derived class. Okay, Sumit. Swati says, if we want to specify any access modifier, then it is public by default, I mean. No, it is default by default. Are you getting my point? Public is an access modifier which is different. It could be used by any class that is present in any package throughout the application. But default one, if you are not mentioning anything, it will be default by default. Hence, it could only be used by the classes that are present in the same package. So are you clear, Swati? Swati says, what I said was right in C++ and a question mark. So I won't specify any access modifier, then it is public by default, I mean. Most probably yes, but I'm not very sure about it because I do not have much experience in C++. Okay? But most probably I guess you are right. So all of you, are you clear with the access modifiers, everything that I've shown you right now? Oyster says thank you. Manu says, what is the difference between private and default? You tell me. You have the example right in front of you. Okay, I'll just uncomment it. This one is default and this one is private. These two classes are present in the same package, that is this one. Okay, private is defined as private, default is defined as nothing. Now, Manu, what do you think is the case? Manu says both have got same access. Do you think so? One is giving me an error, the second one is fine. If they have got the same access, they would be working fine. Don't you think so? Now think. Manu says, sorry, I didn't see this one. Never mind. So what you can figure out from this very class, that is two class, what can you figure out from this? One is default, the other is protected. Sorry, the other is private. As the name suggests, private means it is private to the class, cannot be used by any other class. It is a private property. Okay? But default one, it could be used by other classes that are present in the same package. Are you clear now, Banu? Okay, very good. She says yes, thank you, very good. So let's get back to the presentation once again. Okay, that was the final topic for today. So all of you, let me know how many of you were able to grab the concepts that were taken today. Please write down on the chat window and send me smileys if you're able to understand the things that were taken today. Swati says yes, it was very clear. Very good then. Anurag sends me a smiley. Sumit sends me a smiley. Vibhanshu, Pramod, Anurag says clear. Karthik says yes, it's clear. Sai says clear. Shashidhar says since I know C++ hoop, I felt easy, sir. Okay, very good. What about the rest of you? Other people are also present today. Please tell me, how was your experience? Good or bad, understood or not? Manu says yes, it's clear and thanks for the classes. You're welcome. Sumit says you'll put up an illustration of super plus this on community. Yes, I'll do that. Okay, just give me one today or tomorrow's time because I'm actually kind of busy these days. I'll find out and I'll give a good example which will clear your concepts about that. Okay, I was trying to show you the same. I was trying to make a good example, but there was some errors. That is why it was showing some null. Okay, but I'll come up with a good example for you guys and you'll understand it. So, but I'm confused between object and instance. Don't get confused. Both are actually the same thing. But the difference comes when class and object is present. Okay, that is class, right? Left inside you mention that this is an object of this class, but on the right side you are mentioning that you are using the instance of which class. Okay, it actually happens with a subclass. Okay, when you are using inheritance in your program, in that case only this will come. In the normal situation you'll be using both the sides the same thing. Okay, so just try to go through it, try to go explore the inheritance part and then you'll understand it. Or not, I'll also put a thing on this as well. Okay, that is object and instance. Sumit says okay, and I will check on pass by reference and post that. Absolutely, Sumit, that's the spirit I want. That's what I want from you guys, that come up with your own initiative that yes, I'll do it and I'll post it on community so that other people can also understand from that. It will also help other people, right? So everyone should do this. After every class you should post, each and every one of you should post something related to the class. Okay, or any query, confusion that you have, you can post it. You can answer each other's question. That will actually help you out to understand the concepts easily. Karthik says next question, give complete explanation of this operator. Okay, then I'll do that, Karthik. Okay, Sumit says, sir, can we have two main methods? Now, in the same class, you cannot have two main methods, but if you're using two different classes, you can have two main methods. Okay. Okay then guys, for today this was all. Now, if you want to see the community, there were a few posts. Okay, right now I've got 4. Just a minute. Okay, Sumit's question, I find it. So Sumit, I'll answer it. Now Hardik was a student in previous batch, so he's trying to help you out. I can see that. So this is what I want. Okay, so everyone post it right here, and those of you who are still not joined into the community, you can just send a request on Edureka Java community. Just search it on the search bar. Sorry. Write Edureka Java community and you'll find this Edureka Java community. You can add yourself and you can become a member of this community. Okay. Pramod says if we don't define the accessing method, what would be the default? Define the accessing method. What do you mean by that, Pramod? I didn't get your point. Also says in case of two main method where we create object. Okay, and that's a good question, Ashish. And for that, I have to write an explanation for you. I'll just let you know about it. Okay. You can have two methods in two different classes. You can make object in both the methods, but the real question is which method would be called. Are you getting my point? Let's try it right now. Okay, Swati and Bhanu has already sent me the request. I've added them. So let's go to Eclipse. let's close it. Close all and array class 1, class 2. No, the aquatic one, okay? I just forgot. Close all. No. Okay, in the class 1 and class 2 also, here itself I'll copy the main method itself. I'll paste it here. So this is the main method. Here also you can create class objects. So class 1 OB equals to new class 1 and put a semicolon. So you have created an object and you can call different things, okay? Now I'll print a statement. Let's see which method was called. System.out.println. I'll write class 2. Okay, I'll copy this. There I'll mention class 1. Main method, commenting it, class 1, saving my file. Now instead of, I'll just close it and I'll just right click on this, run as Java application. Okay, void method and class 1. So the first class has been called first. Static. Okay, I'll give you the reason why the first class is called. I'll just let you know. Sir, in case of two main method where we create object, promote says if we don't define the accessing method, what would be the default? What is the accessing method you're talking about? Give me the instance regarding which you are actually asking this question. What is the accessing method? Do you have a mic? If you have it, you can just speak up. I'll unmute you. Someone says maybe access specifier is talking about. Are you talking about the access specifier? Access keywords. Okay, that is what it is, the access specifier. If you do not mention it, it is taken as default, and in default case what happens, that particular element can be accessed by all the classes that are present in same package. Like, I'll open the access specifier main. This is a default one and this is the second class in the same package. So you can use this default specifier in the main method. You can use this default right here, okay, because they were present in the same package. But if you try to use the default one in the class that is present in another package, you won't be able to do that. It will give you an error. Is the question answered, Pramod? Please write down on the chat window. Okay then, very good. So for today it will be all. I hope you have understood the concepts that were taken today. So for now I'll take a leave, guys. Bye bye, take care. Thank you all for being here today again, and you have to come the next week, that is on Saturday. Okay, you have to come on the next Saturday the same time, 10 to 12 p.m. and we'll have further more discussions on Java. Swati says Saturday we missed it. Sumit says what we are learning is same as J2EE. Okay, are you asking or are you telling me? Okay, you're asking me. The basics is same. J2EE is the advanced part of Java. Okay, it is the basics, the core Java first. After core it is the advanced Java. After advanced it is J2EE. Okay, Swati says college. Okay, Swati, so what you can do, you can see the recording of the class. So, okay, she says he sent me a request on Facebook community. Okay, Oish is there, Karthik is there, Sai is there, Neelam Blue Sea. I'll have to check you out. Are you there in my class? I don't think any Neelam is present in my class. Next class on Saturday, yes Sumit, that is 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Okay? So get your assignments done. I'll be posting few assignments on Facebook as well, or you'll find the assignments here on the Facebook community. You can see that assignment and you can do that, or else you can go to the LMS, that is the Learning Management System of Comprehensive Java course. There you'll find chapter wise assignments, so you can start attempting the assignments now. Okay? So will you all do the assignments, because it is important that you do it, or else your concepts won't be cleared. And my task is I have to give you a post on Java community on this keyword, super keyword, and the main method answer. Okay? So let us guys finish our task. Everyone, bye bye, take care. Thank you all for being here today, and we'll be seeing you on the next Saturday same time. Bye bye all. And don't forget to fill in the survey. Forgot to tell you that. Right after this class, you'll receive a survey to fill in. Give your comments, suggestions, so that I can improve myself and provide you a better class in future. Ursi says, Inshallah, I'll do it. Absolutely. So Neelam is my friend who got problem connecting in the class. So is she registered for the Java community course? Bhanu? Comprehensive course, is she registered for that? Okay, then I'll check her out on database, and if she is present, I'll add her. Okay? Okay, I'll just add it. Never mind. I've added her. Okay then. Bye-bye for today, guys. And don't forget to fill in the survey. That is one of the important part of this class. Okay, that actually helps me. The class helps you and the survey helps me. So I think you'll help me out. Bye-bye. Thank you.